Hey everybody, so as you can see, I am not in my carving shed, I am out in the woods. So what we got going on today is we are going to do some skull hunting. Most likely we will find some animal bones, remains, but if we're lucky, we might find some skulls. Now I am in a state forest right now, so more about that in a bit, but we're going to walk around, see what we can find, and we're going to share with you kind of what to look for as far as finding skulls, some of the legal aspects to collecting them, and just enjoy nature, have a good time out here today. So let's get walking and let's get hunting. Okay, so let's talk about where to look for finding some animal bones and skulls. So we're just going to use where I'm at right now for this example, real life example. Try to think of like, okay, thousands and millions and billions of animals die all the time, right? So where are they going to die? There's going to be a couple different reasons why a wild animal is going to die. It's either going to die from disease, or maybe a fatal wound from a fight or something like that, or it's going to be eaten by another animal. If it's dying of its own will, it knows it's dying type of deal, it's going to try to find cover. So any type of old buildings, definitely a good spot for that. If it's been killed, so if a fox kills a rabbit, it's going to take it to its den, or it's going to find a high point to eat it, so it's safe. Or even like a hawk, it'll kill a rabbit or something like that, and it'll take it up into a tree and eat it, or just take it to a high point. So kind of keep that in mind. I'm going to look for dens, any type of holes. Usually you'll find some bones around that, where they've eaten, caught an animal and then take it back to its den. There are some old buildings on this property, so I am going to look at those. And a lot of it is just walking around and paying attention, looking for that white bone on the ground. But if you want to better your chances, look for those dens, outbuildings, kind of anywhere you think an animal would take something and eat it, or an animal would actually go and die. Okay, so I was walking along, saw a little scurry to my left, and check out how big this lizard is. Alrighty, so first bone of the day, just walking down the trail and saw the tall tale glimmer of white. I'll show it down here and see if you can see it. Okay, so I think this is a good time to talk about where I am today. So this is, I'm not gonna claim to know exactly what every single bone is. It looks like a leg bone to something larger. But maybe, yeah, not sure. But so I'm in a state park, and it is illegal to remove anything from a state park, whether that's a plant, a rock, a bone, anything like that. So it's going to be more or less like catch and release for this time around, just because I am on a public land. If it was private land, that would be a different story, depending on the animal. So I am going to put this back. One thing to note on here, see if we can get it to focus. And it looks like squirrels have already chewed on this bone. It's fairly old. You can see on both ends they've taken advantage to this. So I'll talk about that in a bit, but it is something to note. So we'll just put this back. But first bone of the day, if you find one bone, more than likely there are other bones around it. So make sure to scour the area around whatever you found, because you might get lucky and find something else. So there's an old, I think it's a house, maybe a old shed or something like that. back up here, so we're gonna head there next. I think that'll up our chances of finding something, and then from there we'll look a little bit more in the woods, and there's a stream as well I want to check out, so we'll see where we get. So no bones in here, and maybe that's not surprising just because it is in a state park and it's pretty heavily trafficked through here. So, you know, I'm sure if there was a skull in here, someone would have saw it and unfortunately picked it up. But there is an active den down here. You can see no bones whatsoever, so I'm guessing that's just a groundhog. But there is a house way back in the back there, as you can see. It's kind of fallen down, but maybe let's give that a try. So funny thing, this used to be a standing house. Granted, it was very old years ago. And my guess is they purposely demolished the top part and just left the foundation just for safety reasons. I mean, you go in there and it was pretty darn rickety. So I'm guessing that's what happened. You know, kind of unfortunate. I don't know the history behind the house itself. But yeah, it used to be a pretty decent sized house there. So anyhow, let's go look, check out the stream. Okay, well, the walking has paid off. Came upon something. Let me show you what it is, see if you can see it. See anything sticking out here? A little bit of white there, white back in there, over in there. So what we have is a deer skull. So this is more likely a doe, probably not a button buck or a young buck. But you can see pretty weathered, been here for a while, but you even have mandible still here, most of the teeth, rib bones, and your pelvis. Alright, well, that's not bad. We did find a skull, not complete, but it's a deer skull, so there's the proof in the pudding. You can find stuff if you just take some time to walk around. Again, I'm going to leave it here, so probably a good time to talk about something real quick. So earlier on, when the very first bone that we found, you could see on it where something had chewed on the bone. So this is one of the deer bones, leg bones here, and if it'll focus, but you can see something has chewed on this as well. So a lot of the times that's squirrels, but that goes for a lot more animals actually than squirrels themselves. And why they nibble on and bite on bone is two reasons. First is minerals, so they get phosphorus and calcium from the bone itself by digesting it. And then for things like squirrels, they bite on it to keep their teeth from growing too long. So a lot of animals like that, their teeth will continually grow, so they need to continuously chew on something to wear down their teeth as they grow. So that's why they chew on the bones. That being said, you know, again, it's not like everyone out there is going out and collecting all the bones in the forest, but you do want to leave some bones behind for animals. You know, this is a natural part of the cycle of life out here. So something dies and it benefits other animals around it. So take note of that. You know, if you find a bunch of bones, leave some behind for the wildlife out there, and it'll be all good. All right, let's keep looking, see if we can find anything before we head on home. Okay, So I came to this particular forest area for a reason. It's a state park years ago. Okay, I used to come here and walk and jog and exercise and walk around nature just for the heck of it, right? And one time found this guy, which is a native arrowhead, and it is a flint. They chip it and they make little arrowheads out of the stones. So years ago, I guess I just wasn't very conscious of this. I was more ignorant than anything. But I picked it up and I took it home, and I've had it ever since. But like I said at the beginning of the video, it's illegal to take anything from a state park. So I've had this for years, a long time, and I wasn't ever supposed to remove it from the spot to begin with. So I'm actually going to take this to the forest, the ranger, and give it to him. Just say, hey, sorry I took this a while ago, do with it as you please. It is an artifact, so I'm not just going to put it back on the ground. If a ranger came through here himself, I'm sure he'd pick it up. There's a museum in town that has several of these that were found in the area. So I'm going to return that to them. And that it's kind of a rule that goes for a lot of places. Any type of historical landmarks, places like that, people will take little souvenirs, a little piece of the pyramids or whatever it is. And if you compound that by hundreds of years, millions of people, you really start to diminish a site, and that's not a good thing. So I don't want to be that person who does that. Certainly guilty of it in the past, but I'm going to return this to its rightful location. Someone at some point put a lot of work into this thing, and who knows, maybe they killed a deer with it, or maybe they missed. But anyhow. Skull number 2, another deer. Let me pull it out here for you. Alrighty, so another doe deer skull. Again, pretty old, missing part of your cranium there. Your premaxilla bones would stick out here, and some of your nasal bones there. But yeah, skull for sure. I'm happy with that. Number 2. Okie dokie folks, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Didn't find as many skulls as I would like to, but got to get out in the woods, kind of reconnect with nature, spend some time together and learn some stuff. So that's always a good time. I've got the arrowhead packaged up, and I'm going to send it to a guy here in Virginia who's in charge of that particular park. So I'm going to return that to its rightful place. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you would like to learn more about finding skulls and all the other different places that I go to find skulls, I'll leave a link in the description of this video to an article where I cover a bunch of different places, farms, taxidermists, vets, all different kinds of places you can find skulls. There's a link in that article at the very end where you can download another list of places, so be sure to check that out down below. So thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next week. All right, thanks guys.